Here is a piece of clothing, valuable for its capacity to redefine or perhaps undefine a particular group of people. It can create a visual void and bring our attention to something other. If you look at the people who we associate with having appropriated the turtleneck, academics, feminists, and artists, you understand the value of the void, where the focus away from the body becomes a focus toward the mind. And more than this, it allows the physical form to be an expression of and extension of our minds. There is also a subversive aspect to it, a rejection of the status quo. There was a reason why in the 60s, that decade of revolution, it was adopted by designers to reinvent the suit, why it became a signifier of the Beat generation, and why it was standard issue for our most iconic tech CEO. It served as a rebellion against the shirt and tie, an anti-uniform, but a uniform nonetheless, creating a feeling of democratization and anonymity. Iconic both as a symbol of cool and effortless beauty, and of the dated and staunchly uncool, the subject of ridicule and the epitome of sophistication. But how does it translate so fluidly between divisions of people? How has it come to symbolize nothing instead of something? And how, after many incarnations, is it still relevant? Perhaps if we think of fashion and all that we adorn ourselves with as additions to our outer selves, the turtleneck is a very conscious subtraction from that, leaving us with a neutrality that forces us to observe to understand. I wish there was a way to talk about the headscarf using the same language, to talk about it as an expression of love for the mind and soul of a person, as an antidote to the consumption of beauty, to share my thoughts but not filtered through the lens of my physicality, or rather to define it as a platonic place for my thoughts to live. But the idea of a headscarf has become so imbued with symbolic overtones of subjugation and shame. It can no longer be just what it is. It can no longer be neutral. And when you give an object that power, or the perceived power of control, you absolve those enacting that control. Maybe the only way to lift these connotations is to dilute them, to add other definitions in order to open up the imagery that surrounds it. It's strange to be on the outside. When it's us and them, I'm them, always. Voiceless or strung out in someone else's sentences. And while shorter hemlines came to represent a rejection of enforced gender roles in a male-dominated society, it's as if we looked at that and said, it's nakedness they want, but we're missing the point. It was the embodiment of a deliberate act of choice. That was the liberation. I'm not held except by my own compulsion. And I think that's what people find so difficult to believe. But I'm not ashamed. I'm not afraid or controlled, except in the way that we all are. You know, I'm still beholden to Western ideals of beauty more than I'd like to be. Still have insecurities, and I think that's what makes it so important to make a choice every day and see that and be conscious of it. It's funny, but consciously or not, it's no surprise that many of those women looking to redefine the headscarf are choosing to pair it with the uniform of mind over body rebels, the turtleneck.